Well, good morning, everyone. Well, I showed you my garden a while back, and I thought I had, well, I know I had planted an acorn squash seed. Well, all I can say is, oopsie, this is not an acorn squash. But I'm sure what happened is someone had given me an acorn squash last year, and I saved the seeds, and I bet there was a little cross-pollination going on out there in the garden of whoever gave me that acorn squash. So I've got zucchini. I don't plant zucchini. I'm not a big fan of zucchini, but I like to try different experiments. So years ago, I made gummy worms from zucchini. So we're going to try that again today. I tried making a sugar-free version about 2 or 3 weeks ago. A friend gave me a big one to experiment with, and don't do it. It was a flop, and they were awful. I just threw them all out. So let's see about making this acorn squash into some zucchini gummy worms. Okay, I'm actually, sorry guys, today's laundry day. Washer and dryer's running in the background. I had another zucchini off of that plant that I had used part of it for supper the other night. So that's what I've got, why I have so many zucchini here. But I've already peeled it and kind of cut it up into more manageable pieces. And now I'm going to remove all the seeds, and this will go to my chickens, or it can be put in a compost pile. And for those of you lucky enough to be raising pigs or other critters, they like these things too. So I'm going to get busy here and get these all de-seeded, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got my zucchini, like I said, it's peeled, I've got it seeded, and now I'm gonna go ahead and cut this up. I'm gonna cut this in just pieces. I might be able to get some worms. But you can have gummy bites or gummy worms, whatever you wanna call them. And then I'm just gonna cut across like in about 1/2 inch slices. About like that. And I don't know, I'm gonna cut some in half so I have little worms, and I'll make some a little bit bigger so I have bigger worms, and then I'll cut some into just bites if you don't want to eat a whole gummy worm. So let me get it all cut up and I'll come back. Okay, I have my zucchini cut up. I left a bigger one. I've got little pieces. I've got half slices. You can chop this up in your Vidalia onion chopper thing, by hand, whatever you want. And basically, all it is like a concentrated Kool-Aid. So I like cherry red. And sorry, dryer's going right behind you, the washer and dryer. It's going to be 2 packages of Kool-Aid, 2.5 cups of sugar. So it's just a little bit more sugar than you would normally use when you're mixing up Kool-Aid. I haven't done this in years. 3 cups of water. Then you're going to bring that to a boil. And so let me get it to a boil. We'll get the sugar all dissolved, the Kool-Aid dissolved. While I'm letting this come to a boil, I'm going to show you something that I learned from years ago when I made this. This is going to be sweet. The zucchini itself will be very sweet, and it'll be chewy. But to give it that gummy bear, sweet, sour I use Country Time lemonade. It's boiling now, and I'm going to add my zucchini. And it says 10 to 12 cups of zucchini, but you know, just like everything else, use what you got. I don't even know what I added in here. But the idea is that you want your zucchini totally covered by your syrup. I didn't even measure my zucchini, so I don't know what I had. I just cut it up. No surprise, right? I never measure anything. A little more water is needed. Okay, and I'm certain if I'd cut that up in little, you know, 1/2-inch squares, 1-inch squares, that it would have all fit in what I had. So now what I'm going to do is let this come back to a boil, turn my heat down, and let it simmer. You're going to let it simmer until they'll turn red and somewhat translucent. And 20-30 minutes, you just kind of have to watch it. Keep an eye on it. So when this comes back to boil, I'm going to put a lid on it and let it simmer. Okay, it's been, I don't know, maybe about 20-25 minutes. Show you what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? And it's kind of translucent. So I'm going to drain all of the liquid off. Now, if you're going to make some more, you can reuse this liquid. But I've only got one more zucchini out there, and it's just real little. So if I happen to get another monster, I'll probably make more of these gummy worms, and we'll call them gummy bugs, just so I can share them with friends that have kids. I've told several people I'm going to try to make them, and I want their kids to try them. So anyway, let me get this drained and come back and we'll get it on the dehydrator trays. Okay, I'm spreading these out on the dehydrator trays. You don't have to use the mesh sheet, and I'm also using some of my parchment paper, but since this stuff is so sticky, it's going to be a lot easier to get off if I use the paper or the mesh. So that's why I'm doing that. So I'm just going to keep spreading these out, making sure they don't touch. And they're very hot, so you got to be careful. Okay, as I'm spreading these out, I just can't remember when I put this lemonade on it, but I'm pretty sure that I've done it after they came out of the dehydrator. But doesn't it make more sense that it's going to stick better if you put it on now? So I think I'm going to, well, you know me, going to experiment a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a tray, or however many's left in here, of putting this on before I run it through the dehydrator. We'll see. As soon as you take the top off, the whole label comes off. So anyway, this is that Country Time lemonade. I put a little bit in a bowl, and I just want to make sure that all sides of these little goobers get covered. So I'm going to roll it in that. I don't know, this might be too much, but it's only going to be one tray. That might be too much. Okay, I'm just kind of coating this in this lemonade mix. Get them all covered and come back. Okay, I decided to only do half a tray of those that were covered with that Country Time. I think it's just going to be way too much because well, we'll see. Anyway, I've kind of marked a little line so I know which ones were dipped. And now I'm going to put the dehydrator lid on. since zucchini is a vegetable, I'll set it on the fruit and vegetable setting at 135, and I'm sure it's probably going to be at least 12 hours, if not longer. So we'll come back later and check on it and see where we're at. Okay, I got a lot of stuff running in the background. I got my canner running, the fan's running, but ignore all that. But here they are. They're still pliable, and that's how you want them. And I'm going to get them all off the trays, and I'll put them in a bowl or a dish, and we'll cover them with the Country Time lemonade. Okay, these are the ones that I put that Country Time lemonade on before, and they're just really sticky. And I mean, they're good, and they have that kind of sour kick to them, but they're just sticky and messy. My fingers are even sticking together. So what I've done here is I put the gummy worms in a bowl, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that Country Time lemonade on. Okay, I've got maybe half a cup of that. I'm not going to sprinkle it all in. I'll sprinkle just a little bit. Shouldn't take too much. And then I'm just going to kind of toss it a little bit. See if I can't get it to coat each of these. And tell you what, it's going to take 2 hands to do this, so I'll be back. I ended up adding maybe 1/4 cup, and I probably could have gotten away with a whole lot less, because as you can see, it's settled to the bottom. But you don't want a whole lot on there. Just enough really now so they won't stick. So I think what I'm going to do is take these out, put them in a Ziploc bag, and then I'm going to take these sticky ones and put them in some of that leftover lemonade down there in the bottom. And then I'll get that all done and we'll check back. Okay guys, here's my completed bag of gummy worms. I've just got them in a Ziploc. There's a little bit of this Country Time still floating around in there, but that's okay. You just shake it up. These things are good, guys. Really good. The Country Time gives it just a little bit of a sour, and then you got the sweet gummy worms. Give it a try sometime. I think your kids are going to love it.